Hi guys, and welcome to another video. My name is Julie, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about fighting for identities. And the first aspect of this is that when we start to wake up and have a spiritual awakening, it's mainly like the first aspect of that is to wake up from the self, like the mental self, the conceptual identity. We realize that we are not our thoughts, in a sense. And the thing is that, at least for me, after that initial awakening, the ego came back it felt very strong because I became aware of how it has always been. Like I was back in those shoes again after a phase of relief. And then it was really, really uncomfortable. And I couldn't hide in identities anymore. I couldn't hide behind confidence. I couldn't hide behind trying to be smart, trying to be funny. I couldn't hide behind a personality because it felt so fundamentally fake or false. And I realized soon that no matter where I try to, how I try to fix my sense of self, the false self, it's uncomfortable either way. If I try to be perfect, well, and if I, in one area, for example, say I try to be, let's say, I try to achieve something in school, right? And I try to chase that sort of perfection. Maybe I try to cover up the sense of shame of being stupid, right? And I'm trying to prove that I'm smart, and I'm chasing this identity of being a smart academic person. And you realize when it's driven by this shame or this fear, you realize when you get there that it's not satisfying because it's still, the pain is still there. So you hide in this identity and you get trapped in it. It's like, I like the way Angelo Di Lullo describes this as the house of mirror or the room of mirror. And you're just in this, like, you try to fix a mirror with another mirror. You're trying to fix a sense of self that is shameful with a sense of self that is perfect. And it traps you even more, especially if you are like me, because I could always feel that it was fake. I could always feel like if I try to be this kind of person to prove that I'm not that kind of person, well, I'm stuck in this game with myself that it doesn't feel like I'm living authentically. And I don't find peace here. And I'm definitely denying myself, or I'm living in sort of a sense of a false reality. I knew it, and I felt it growing as a teenager. And then as a natural consequence, for me at least, I woke up in my early 20s. So I remember, like, there are parts of the self that I liked, like a part of my social personality that I really liked, for example. Parts of my social personality that I did not like. But it was really, really uncomfortable either way in this after awakening and post awakening, because I knew it wasn't real, and it was really hard to let go of the attachment to certain ideas about myself. For example, I liked the idea of being, I don't know, like socially confident, for example. And I knew it was a duality there, because there was a part of me that was really socially anxious. Absolutely. But there was another part of me that was really confident. So I felt very, very, I wanted to still be the confident person, right? But I knew it wasn't real. I knew it wasn't what I really was. So it made me feel uncomfortable because it felt something was tainted, something was not right about it. So the anxiety always kicked in anyway. So I couldn't keep up those false identities anymore. And the only way was to actually just let it go and realize that it was thoughts. So what we do is that, as a sense of safety, as a way to feel safe, we cling onto these ideas about ourselves. We attach to a certain identity to protect ourselves from feeling certain emotions. And this is how the ego operates and create your identity. It tries to like keep you safe from certain ideas that you are afraid of feeling, right? Certain emotions. So many people today, I think, are very identity confused. We can also, for example, see this with I believe in the gender world, the world of genders. More and more people are feeling like they can't attach to one gender anymore, right? And we can discuss that. And I don't have any political opinions about that, at least not that I want to share here. But it's more like that, the confusion around gender. And I can personally say that I feel like a woman on a biological level, but I'm not a woman. Like, I don't identify with that in a way either, because I am beyond the gender. I am what I am. There's no need to cling onto an idea about, oh, I'm a woman, so I should be that way, you know? So the moment you label, you limit. The moment you try to attach yourself or cling to a label, but cling to an idea about yourself, it's the moment you think that will set you free or that will keep you safe. It's the moment it traps you, and you feel more of this suffering, more of this discomfort. And it's a trick the mind play on us, that it identifies with these certain ideas. And you know, I learned pretty quickly, especially when I was battling with eating disorder, and I thought I was overweight as a child and early teenager, and I thought if I only lose weight, I will become this kind of person, and then life will be okay, right? And I lost all this weight, and sure, I got more socially confident, maybe, and my body was healthier as well, which I think is the most important part. But I felt like a rat in a cage, and I was never relaxed, and I actually suffered more than ever, clinging to that identity of being skinny or being thin or being beautiful. It was really, really uncomfortable to identify as that, because what if I failed, right? My whole worth was tied to that, which made me really vulnerable. And it had to crack for me. It just had to crack. All the ideas, all identities that I've been clinging onto, it just had to crack. And it felt really scary in the moment, and really, really painful for sure. The sort of ego death. But what comes through on the other side is love, and unconditional love, because you can be as you are. And one moment you can be skinny, one moment you can be chubby, like it doesn't matter, because what you are is beyond that. And it's just exciting to explore different aspects of yourself and what you can be, right? The different forms, you can say, but none of them are you. None of them are you, not the mental forms and not the physical forms. But you can explore them, and you can pretend to be them, and you do before you wake up. But anyway, after you wake up, you will realize that they're not really you. So, for example, when we do self-inquiry and we try to find our identity and the story about me, right? The story about you, where I like to ask myself, where is it located? Where can you find it? Where is the story? And you have to go into the mind. You have to start thinking, right? And thinking has its purpose, but it's just thinking. That's what it is. It's not what's actually going on right here, right now. And if you don't think about your story, if you don't think about it, where is it? Right? So this is how we wake up from that, that story just being a story. And it might as well be different, because we remember different things. The brain focuses on different, puts emphasis on things that are emotionally triggering for us. So if we had a past that certain parts of our past had a very strong emotional charge, which makes us remember that parts of the past more. And in that sense, we'd never remember the past as it really was either. Some parts we remember as better than they were, and some parts we remember as worse than they were. But either way, we are just where we are right now, and the story is something that we don't need to cling on to. And again, if you do the exercise that I just showed you, and ask yourself, where is my story located? Where is it? Where is the sense of self located? If you look at it, you won't find it other than in a thought. So you are right here, but you are not the story in the mind. And this changes too. Like, you see how the story changes. A story about you now versus a story about you 3-5 years ago, maybe there are similarities, but there are also very differences. And in different situations, the story about you changes. So it's a story, right? So for me, at least, after awakening, trying to cling onto and attach to identities. And it just felt like I was trying to catch smoke. It felt like I was trying to cling onto just something that was vanishing in the air. Like I couldn't find it anymore. And it's really confusing, especially if you don't know that you have had an awakening like I did. And I didn't have a good guidance, a good teacher. So it was really, really scary because I really tried to go back, you know, I really tried to, or the ego, I guess, tried to catch my attention for so long. And a part of me wanted to go back too, especially, as I mentioned, to the parts of me that I really liked. And you can, I mean, you can play those roles. It's just that you're playing them. They're not really real. And trust me, if you surrender those roles, what you will encounter, it's a million times more beautiful than what you will ever find in those identities in the mind. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say today. And until next time, much love and namaste.